Like I said in my preview, this would be sort of a dud day. Of course, I didn't expect Stosur to actually lose to Duvall. I did say Duvall would take a set, and I knew that it would be a struggle, but Stosur really had trouble getting used to the balls. I mean, she could have lost in straight sets very easily. The ball was kind of flying on her. She has the big topspin. She's probably the closest to Nadal of any on the women's side with the real hard swinging topspin kind of forehand. And for a woman, I just think that's harder to control. It takes a lot of strength, a lot of great consistency, and Stosur has like a fragile game because of it. She's getting a new coach, which I think is fantastic because I think she could use some new input. Maybe make her game like more sturdy and not so fragile, because when she's on, she's fantastic, but she's rarely completely on. And for her, getting used to new conditions and everything is always a little bit of a struggle. And unfortunately for her in the first round, she did not have an easy opponent. Plus, having a qualifier, it would have probably been easier just to have someone higher ranked who hadn't qualified, because Duvall was very used to the ball and the conditions. And like I said, this year the ball is it's bigger, and you can really spin it, but it's very lively as well. And I think it's taking a lot of these players something to get used to. Another girl, that was, by the way, on Louis Armstrong right there, as you can see, the last match of the day. I won't say a whole lot about that because that's the huge news. Everybody knows about it, but unbelievable. I figured it would be tough, but my goodness, I didn't think she'd actually, even at the very end, I thought Stosur could pull that out. But Duvall, to her credit, she does take it pretty quick and played free and aggressive, and it was close. I mean, it very easily could have went either way. These balls are better to be aggressive with, these new balls, so that definitely helped. Now, the match I'm looking for right here is Petkovic and where is it? Oh, there it is, Jovanovski and Petkovic at the top on court 13 to start the day. This is another one. I looked into this match. I didn't get to see a lot of it, but Petkovic was also having trouble with the ball. She hadn't had any experience with the new U.S. Open, Wilson U.S. Opens 2013. Jovanovski did play New Haven, so she had a little bit of experience with it, and I think it helped her. Petkovic's balls were flying on her a bit. She was, a little bit too aggressive than too passive, trying to find the right mix. She did better in the second set by just simply hanging in and fighting and not going for too much, but it was very close. There were a lot of break points and match points, but in the end Petkovic just got broken once, and that's all it was. She almost broke back but couldn't quite get it. And Jovanovski, I think Petkovic saved 4 match points, but just fighting wasn't enough. She needed to unleash some big shots, and she just couldn't get the hang of this ball. Jovanovski did have the hang of it. Okay, so that other things in the day, we had the Janowicz was a mess. His shoulder is a mess. Maximo Gonzalez actually takes the ball quicker than I knew, and Argentinians Argentines, I should say, actually play hard court and clay, and they usually are a faster type of clay court player. So it's not too surprising. He, like Schwartzman, for instance, can take the ball relatively quick and do okay, but Janowicz's shoulder was a mess. And so one point I think he served underhand. Jack Sock and Petzner, another issue. A lot of physical issues today. A lot of people were getting dizzy spells, and with this one, Petzner had a shoulder problem. It was a close first set, but Jack Sock, really rose up in the tiebreak with some big aggression. And Petzner tried to be aggressive, but he was just barely missing first serves. Jack Sock's level came down a bit. Petzner got a set, but then the shoulder just kept getting worse and worse, and by the end he just retired. And on staying on that same court later in the day, Peng Shui's one of those dizzy spells. She's been dizzy all year, to be honest with you. She seems to be physically unable to really compete all year. I knew she was the big favorite on the hard court here against Musburger, who hasn't even played since Bad Gastein, but I was wondering about Peng Shui's fitness. Well, she looked pretty good, actually. She had some weird moments where she looked a little funny, and then serving for the match at match point, she actually bent down to one knee and sat and was on one knee for about 10 minutes or 5 minutes. She got up and did a big first serve that Musburger did not get back, and that was the match. But Peng Shuai was kind of net rushing on that serve, and as she was coming to the net, it almost looked like she was going to fall. So, It's what it is now. I think there must be a lot of low blood sugar levels or something on the tour. I mean, people are sick, people are dizzy, people have injuries. It's a rough game these days, the modern game, and too much tennis. So we'll see if Peng Shuai can do anything the next round. Let's jump up to actually, let's for fun. Let's see what else happened during the day first. Oh, Dolgorud Lepchenko played a great one. Lepchenko's another one you can just see by her summer hardcourt schedule and her matches that she's kind of fading in the third set. She's starting to tire out from a lot of tennis. She's a big girl too, so Dolgorud's also coming back from major injuries, and she just basically fought. I mean, Lepchenko would probably have won this normally. She did get through the first set tiebreak, but really struggled after that, and fought hard at the end, but didn't have enough gas in the tank, in my opinion. Monfils, here's one. I mean, this guy was serving about 105 miles per hour first serves. I mean, he's definitely affected by this hip issue or whatever issue he had from North Carolina. So he's not 100%, but Unger is a mess. He's been a mess in the body and the mind for a while. It all goes together. To start the match, he was definitely nervous, missing a lot, and then at one point he was looking so tired himself. And if you can believe it with a scoreline like that, how can you look tired? But he's just physically not right. I mean, it was he was closing his eyes, bending over. I mean, and I don't think that was just mental. I mean, but whatever. Monfils did what he had to do. I don't know how physically fit if he's going to. I don't think he's going to be fit enough for Isner next, but we will see. He will be pushed harder than Unger pushed him, that's for sure. Tommy Haas has dealt with his issues and physical issues over his career. But, you know, Matthew's the guy who's really messed up right now. He actually played pretty well, Matthew. He hasn't played that much this year, but it was, you know, he's not in enough form to do that. We'll jump up here, grandstand. Oh, Ivanovic looked good. She's liking this ball, but Tatishvili has a little bit of a loopy a swing that you know, she wasn't pushing Ivanovic. I mean, Ivanovic needs to be pushed, and then we'll really see if she can control this ball. She was being pretty safe with it, and it was working. I mean, even when she hit laser shots, they were deep, they were well within the court. They weren't near the lines that I saw anyway. So that just, we'll see what happens when she's pushed. She might start making some errors. Christina Mikkel, this really surprised me. I got a lot of my picks right this day, unlike day one. But this one, I thought Gorgas was ready to do this. And again, she looked very tired to me, especially near the end of the match. And it wasn't a long match. And, you know, Mikkel looked fired up and looked good. I mean, she had mono last year and struggled all physically this year. And all of a sudden, she looks pretty good. She's had a lot of rest because she's had such a bad year. And, you know, Gorgas isn't 100%. That's all I can say on that. Isner, it's Valandri couldn't. Isner was. I thought Isner might have a little bit of a flat start to his tournament, but not at all. He looks fantastic, and Valandri can't compete with that on a hard court. Same with Lorenzi. He's not going to be able to compete. Berdych looked also very good. So some of these giants may really do something this U.S. Open. It's pretty exciting. And speaking of another giant, Raonic. He had a little bit more of a struggle because I think Fabiano actually is a little bit better at these hard courts, and he also had qualifying, so he knew he had the conditions down in the ball, the new ball, and he really pumped it in there against Raonic in the second set. But Raonic, to his credit, pulled it through. Querrey was just being Querrey. You know, he kind of slowed down a bit in the second set, but Pella, who's had a torn hamstring at Wimbledon, was starting to play better even before the U.S. Open, and then supposedly hurt his wrist or something was bothering him in the third set, in the fourth set. So that's why he didn't really challenge Querrey then. And then Rogalska, another, I mean, I saw Rogalska and Kohler. Rogalska had a huge wrap on her leg in the qualifying. Kohler had an issue with her leg too. Rogalska but looked real, I mean, she got in as a lucky loser. I knew that would be a joke with Irani. Some more daytime activity. Kvitova lost one set to Doi. Doi's not been in the best form. Kvitova is just a yo-yo right now. She's up and down, and I think a lot of it's physical, partially mental. She'll do some things here in the U.S. Open, make a little bit of a run, and probably have be sick or tired or something like that will come up. This Duan Yingying is called the Chinese Davenport, and she really does look like Davenport a bit from the Chinese end. And she hit some big shots against Wozniacki. She doesn't have enough movement nor enough experience to deal with Wozniacki yet, but that was fun to see. She's a little bit of a late bloomer because of probably her size. It took time for her to get her game together, but that was fun. And Federer took care of Zemja. Zemja's body looks, you know, he had a real good grass season, but now he's all, like I could say, pooped out. That's about the best I can say for him. He finally decided to give it a shot in the third set, but I can't judge Federer from that. Let's see, other day stuff. We'll go to the non-TV courts. Let's see. See, we have any more in Court 11? Oh, I forgot about Court 11. Kohlschreiber, Altamirano. This kid, 18-year-old, 17. He looks like he has some game actually, but he was way too passive to start. I mean, this is the pros, my friend, and these guys are jacking it up, especially with this ball. Kohlschreiber looks like he likes the ball, but let's see what he gets with other competition. But Altamirano, whatever, it would be worth a look to keep an eye on him. Cornet, like I said, Kohler wasn't 100%, and she looked tired. This was a completion, this Berlocq-Geraldo. I checked in on that. Geraldo was having his hamstring, his back. He had his back from the day before. I thought the day off would really help him, and he would win this because he takes it quicker than Berlocq, and I think these conditions suit him. But right away I could tell he was very stiff, and so it worked. It backfired. The day off actually just gave it a chance for his back and everything in his body to get stiff. So he had no chance against Berlocq. Donald Young looked fantastic. Klazan looks like he needs to be in a hospital. I'm not even sure what more to say. He's had a horrible year physically. Even when he shook hands with Donald Young at the end, Young was asking him, "Are you okay?" I mean, he was like a zombie. So I feel bad, but Young looked good. I mean, not to take that away from Young. Young may win the next match too. And Halep and Watson. Halep is starting to tire out. I mean, it's been a lot of tennis this summer. I'm not sure why she had to play New Haven. Then she won New Haven. I don't think she has much longer she's going to be able to last. But Heather Watson's also had so many physical issues that she is not match fit. So she did win the first set, but by the third set she was really tiring out, and Halep looks stronger. But I don't think Halep has a lot of time left here. Now the non-TV courts. Bennett too, he's finding some form a little bit lately. Piersney's been hurt, so after a good year. Panetta, I thought that'd be closer, but Panetta, I saw her working on her game Friday, really whipping the ball, really hitting it hard. I think she's working on her offensive games and her ground strokes, so maybe it's working. I thought Almagro would maybe come back, like I said in my preview, from 2 sets down and win in 5 sets. I'm actually surprised he didn't. He got the opening break of the third set, and then I thought, but he's out of form, and I thought, well, maybe like Gasquet he'll rise up, but no. Well, it's not only that, Istomin was a tough opponent, and Istomin's been finding some form lately. Istomin did have like a bad Cincinnati, but remember, to me anyway, or was it North Carolina? North Carolina, but I really felt he was just tanking. There's a difference between like tanking out and getting ready for the U.S. Open and really being fatigued, and it's hard to call, it's hard to know. But in this case, it looks like Almagro needs to get some rest and get ready for the rest of the year, and then Istomin's, let's see if he can make a little roll here. And my girl from Pittsburgh, City of Pittsburgh, that's for Chris Woods. Allison Risk took care of Perankova, who, as usual, is in terrible form now that the grass court season's over. Allison Risk did get broken back in the second set, but broke right back again and served well. Served better than Perankova. Okay, and moving on. Vinci, no problems. That's good. Mannarino, I thought he might have some problem. He did lose the first set, but Zabalas lately has had tons of problems physically, and it looks like he did again. The scoreline 2-1 tells me that. I thought this might be a problem for Cibulkova, but I thought she would fight through it. Svitolina, it was hard to know. Was she tanking, or was she just really exhausted from a long year? Well, looks like she was just tanking, and wisely so. She didn't play, I think she just played, one match after Baku Cup or something. She won the Baku Cup. She hasn't played much, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen here. Cibulkova had a real tough, she played really hard earlier in the summer hardcourt season. Looked a little exhausted at Cincinnati, but I thought she had enough time off, she'd be okay, but doesn't look like it. And Svitolina has been really good all year, so I think she could even win the next one now. Vikic hasn't been in great form, but neither has Marino. They've both been up and down all year. Vikic was in great form in the grass season, but had, maybe it was catching up to her all the tennis. I'm still not convinced she's found her form back again. I mean, a tough 3-setter with Marino. Looks like Marino kind of pooped out at the end, but we'll see. I'm not convinced Vikic's ready to go for this U.S. Open, 100%. This doesn't surprise me. Karolinko was kind of just like coasting, getting ready for the U.S. Open, saving some energy, and hoping that a lack of form wouldn't hurt her too much. Having Wickmeyer was good because Wickmeyer is completely out of form and completely messed up physically. So I said in my preview, this could be a problem for Sousa. I'm sorry, for Dimitrov, and it looks like it was a major problem. Dimitrov won the first set, but he's been sleepwalking this whole summer after Wimbledon, and it looks like he tired out at the very end. And Sousa, congrats, he can play hard courts too. This shocked me. I mean, Lucic had played qualifying. She was used to the conditions. She is an older woman. She gets tired a lot, and that must have been what happened. Vickery has been a good... She was number 4 junior in the world, I think, or number 6. She's only 18, whatever, so she isn't bad, but I'm kind of surprised. But Lucic probably didn't have enough in the tank, so but congrats to Vickery. Monaco had a stomach issue, stomach illness. Not to say that Florian Mayer can't be good on his good days, but Monaco had to retire. Kind of surprised De Baker, but with De Baker you never know. He's played a decent amount of tennis, probably was feeling it. Doesn't take much for him to feel it, and Andy Hall will take advantage of that. Min had, she's kind of had a rough year, but she's been fighting hard, and then she got through qualies and probably just kind of wore out a bit. Knapp's a big girl, can pound on her. Hantakova, that was the good that she won that. Barthel, not surprising. Larson looks like she woke up in the second set. Barthel's been finding form lately. Safarova, this was an up and down match. Her and Serenko have been totally out of form, but Serenko had to retire recently, so I was giving it to Safarova, and she did pull it out, but don't expect her to be in great form right now. Tomljanovic is in better form. She did lose the first set, probably nerves, against Delacqua, but came back and won. Good for her. I'm kind of surprised Travers didn't win here. It was close, but maybe that North Carolina tournament for Lud, even though he didn't look that great, he did go far and got some good practice, and had practice with the Wilson U.S. Open from 2013. They used that ball there, so maybe that saw him through with Travers. And Wozniak hasn't played since March, and here she wins over Delanque. But Delanque is very much, like I said, like Dushevina. She maybe needs to stick to doubles. She gets tired very easily. Vesnina easily over Beck. I think it's been too much tennis this year for Beck. Vaseline can take it quick, so these courts suit him. I thought Montañez might make it into a clay court battle, but looks like Vaseline is getting a little form back. Glushko is in good form. Petrova hasn't played at all with a back injury, so not surprising. Kudla, I think if he lost that fourth set, it could have been a really crazy one in the fifth set with the American crowd really backing him. Veasley, he can play hard courts. He was in the Junior U.S. Open final as a junior, but he's only played clay courts this summer, didn't get any hard court practice. That really hurt him early on. By the time he really got used to it, it was a little bit too little too late. Shui, this is a big shock to me. I thought for sure Zakopalova found some form in New Haven. So, wow, I can't believe it. Zakopalova, you just never know. Was it a little too hot, a little too humid? Probably that's what it was. Wow. Niemanen, it was tough, but he got through, and good for him. Kubat's been pretty tired after Wimbledon. And Niemanen will be sort of a challenge to everybody here. I think he'll end up playing Djokovic maybe, but Djokovic should be able to get him. Pospisil's finally wore out. He was cramping up really bad after having a 2-set-to-love lead the night before. And then he was cramping up bad, came back out today, was fighting hard, was having some more physical problems again. Then there was some huge controversy where at 10-all, he thought it was, they called it, he had the wrong score line. He didn't know it was match point. They reversed the call on him. He was really mad. And then after they reversed it, they didn't tell him that it was 11-10. He thought it was 10-all. He lost the next point, lost the tiebreak in the match 12-10. The crowd was booing the umpire like crazy. They were actually interrupting play on other parts of the court from all the noise. And Pospisil was completely distraught over everything. So just too much tennis this summer. The guy has kind of a weak body anyway for a tall guy. Like the Giants, he tends to tire out a lot. So he's played a lot of great tennis, but he finally has worn out. Dutra-Silva's had a great year too, but that's going to wear him out for the rest of the draw. See, Dogopolov, what happened here? Oh, Lopez and Saul won in that doubles. Okay. Gorgie won, no problem with Sepulova, not too surprising. Chardet, this is a surprise, a real surprise. Wow, I didn't really have to look into this more maybe, but Steakhouse, wow. I thought he had some good form coming in. But who knows? He likes the conditions might shoot Chardet a little bit. The ball's sitting up. He can really whack it. It's a lively ball. Kind of surprised he didn't lose control of the ball more, but he does spin it more, and maybe Steakhouse might have been too passive even. Who knows? Didn't get to see it. So Simons won the first set over Siepers. I said she was going to be tough here. She looked great in her qualifying, but all the tennis finally caught up to her, 2-1 after that. And then Becker, results completely out of form. I'm even surprised he took a set. De Brito, she did it like I figured she would. That was good. Fognini won his doubles, and the rest of it's doubles. So that's a wrap for day 2.